And today, we're going to look at endgames, chess endgames, yes. And they're easy, and I will try to make them easy. So stay with me, and we'll start in a few minutes, yes? Mellow, mellow, baby. Today is a special day, baby. We're doing endgames, and it's going to be very, very simple. Okay, I'll try to make it very simple, and I will make it simple, baby. All right. So I do a few parts on the end games. Today will be part number one, and I don't know. By the time I'm done, okay, and you follow the show, your end game should be much better for sure. Yeah, baby. Can you hear the music? Yes or no, baby? Tell me. Good, good. I turn it off. I can hear it. All right. And I'm listening to the vibes, baby. All right. All right. Okay, Mello. Are you ready to start, baby? Tell me if you're ready to start. All right, then. Here we go. Let me put my glasses on. Okay. And let's pull it up. Voila. Here I am. I see you. Do you see me? You know what I'm saying? All right. All right. So let's go. Let's go. Let's look at this position first. And what are we going to do here? What are we going to do? All right. So we're going to look at this puzzle. Before I enlarge it, let me just talk about it a little bit. Okay. And I'm going to focus on how I see these positions. Okay. And I think the key is to look at it in a very organized and consistent way. And then we'll look how to help us figure it out by calculating in stages. All right. So let's take a look at this. And here it is. It is much bigger now. And voila, baby. All right. All right. So what's going on here? Well, block is going down. Yes. Block is going this way, down. Okay. So before we start looking at this and discussing it, let's discuss it this way. Okay. So what black wants to do is to promote the pawn, right? You know, and if it can promote safely, the rook will be forced to sacrifice itself, okay, to sacrifice itself for the pawn, right? And then we only have two kings left, and it'll be a draw. All right, that's the idea. But for the pawn to be able to promote, the king has to, excuse me, let's put it this way. The king has to escort the pawn, right? The king has to escort the pawn for the pawn to promote safely, right? So we know what black wants to do. All right. It is white to play, and somehow white has to try to win this. Okay, he has a rook. All right. So the first thing to do is to disconnect the king from the pawn. You have to separate them, right? So the king cannot support the pawn. And the way to do it is to play a move like this, yes? And what does this do? The rook sets up let's say, a force field on the fifth rank. You see that? And the king cannot cross, okay? And that's the first step. And now, let's see what happens if the pawn is pushed, okay? All right. So the rook is waiting. The rook is waiting, okay, for the king and the pawn to be separated by two ranks, yes? And then the rook is going to attack the pawn. Because if it's separated by two ranks, when the pawn is attacked by the rook, the king cannot protect the pawn because it'll be too far away. So right now the separation is only one square, right? So then what happens? The king comes up, makes a useful move, and this is played. And now, if you notice, the separation between the king and the pawn is two squares, so two ranks, yes? Here we go, two ranks, yeah? So when that happens, that's the key, that's the signal that the pawn must be attacked, and it's done sideways, like this. And you see, and now the king cannot support the pawn. It is too far away, right? So the pawn will advance, and the rook comes behind the pawn and picks it up. All right, all right. So that was pretty simple, yes? All right, so that was pretty simple, right, Mello? All right, let's keep working at this diagram a little bit more. Okay, so we know that the pawn wants to be promoted, and the king has to be attached to the pawn to keep the pawn safe and escort the pawn to the promotion square. And that's why we need to separate the king from the pawn. And we do it this way, right? Now, so the king cannot cross the fifth rank, right? Cannot cross the fifth rank, okay, to cross the equator. So the black king cannot cross the equator. So now, how does he cross the equator? Well, one way to do this is to go around the pawn, like maybe put the king here, put the king here, and now the king has crossed the equator. You see that? So that's the only thing now left, right? Now to cross the equator is going to take three moves, right? Three moves, all right? So the way we're going to do this, we're going to calculate in stages, okay? And by calculating stages, we try to simplify calculation by doing it in parts. So let's say the king moves here, one move, and then so it goes to b6, a5, and a4. It's going to take three moves to get there, right? All right. And then eventually the king is going to be on a4, right? In three moves. So in three moves, where would the white king be? Okay, let's take a look. One, two, and three. Okay. So so now look at this. Look at this. So now imagine, close your eyes, imagine the black king is on a4 and the white king is on e5. All right. And now the pawn needs to be advanced. So let's give pawn two moves in a row. Okay. And let's do it this way. So now the pawn advances two moves. Okay. Okay. One and two. And the pawn is right there. Okay, so now the king is on a4 and the pawn is on b3. Now in two moves, what can white do? So white can do in two moves, white can go with the king, okay? With the king, he can go one and two. And now here's the position. Here's the position. Look at the color codes, okay? The blue are the kings, they're nine distance apart, and the black pawn is on b3. Okay. Now whose move is it? Well, white made two moves, and then I'm sorry, black made two moves, and then white made two moves. Okay. So it must be black's move. Okay. So what does he do? Now, if the king advances, okay, let's say from here, one move only, right? And in order to push the pawn, right? The two kings are in opposition, direct opposition, and I can swing the rook across to a5 and it's checkmate. Yes? All right? Okay. So that's the position. So let me put the two kings back here, and let me put the pawn where it should be on b3. And now, so if the black king goes to a3, it's mate on a5. And if the pawn advances, right, the king is going to eat the pawn. Okay, and that's it. So this is winning for white. It's winning for white. Okay, so calculation in stages. So the way we did it, we gave black three moves, one, 2, 3. Okay, and then we give white 3 moves, 1, 2, 3, right? And now the kings are going to be in this position with the blue area, right? The black king on a4 and the white king on e5. Okay, and then so we gave 3 moves for each side, and now we're going to give 2 moves for each side, and now the pawn will advance 2, 1 and 2, and the pawn will be there. And now from here, the white king is on e5. We will give it 2 moves, 1 and 2, and now this is the position of the white king on c3, right? The black king is on a4, and the white king is on c3, right? And the pawn is on b3. Now, if the king advances to a3, okay, to support the pawn, the rook moves over and gives mate, right? And and if the pawn rushes, okay, try to promote, right? The king on c3, the white king is going to eat the pawn on b2. All right. So that's the way we did this. Okay. All right. So this is the way I broke it up. This is the way I broke it up, and it should make some sense, right? Okay. So we know what black idea is. We know what white idea is. Okay. So white idea is the black idea is to promote the pawn. Okay. And white idea is to stop promotion and pick up the pawn. Okay. Very simple. And then we calculate in stages. We did it by giving each side 3 moves and then visualize the position where the changes are. Okay. Then we gave each side 2 moves, then visualize the position where things are. Okay, and then we went one move further. Okay, and we figured out what the result is. So we kind of calculated like in 3 stages, in 3 parts. Okay, and by breaking down the problem into smaller parts, it becomes more manageable. Okay, to know what's going on. So that's the point of this exercise. Okay, any thoughts, statements, declarations, confessions? Mellow baby. Okay, did this make any sense to you? All right. So that's what you do with calculation, and you can do it mathematically. Okay, mathematically. Okay. You make 3 moves with the king. You fix the position where the king lands. Okay, you say that's the name of the square. Okay, it's on a4. Then you give 3 moves to the other king, and then you fix the position after 3 moves. And now you know the position of the kings. Okay, one is on a4, that one is on e5. Then you give black 2 moves in a row. Okay, then you make those moves. Then you fix it. Now you know where the black king is. You know where the pawn is, right? And now you give white 2 moves, and now you fix the position after white makes 2 moves. Okay? And then when you see the position in your mind, when you know where things are in your mind, you're kind of visualizing, kind of, and then you make one more move. You see one is a mate, the other one you pick up a pawn. Okay, so you break down the calculation process. All right, all right. So I think this is useful, and anyway, this is one of those experiments, I do for myself, and it seems to work, at least theoretically. So try it out, and yeah, and all you have to do is persist in the process, believe in the method, and persist in it, and then there you go. You should be able to do it. All right. Now, let's move to the next one. All right. So let me shrink this one, and let's go to the next one. All right. Excuse me. All right. So, all right. So this is our starting position. Okay. And so in this diagram, in this puzzle, I'm going to explain something called key squares. And again, we're going to revisit calculation in stages. Okay. So if you understand the key squares, and if you calculate in stages, you should be able to figure this out, okay? All right. Now, so every pawn in a king and pawn endgame, and you have a passed pawn, okay? A pawn creates key squares, okay? Now, if the pawn is behind the equator, okay, the key squares are two ranks in front of the pawn, okay? So let me show you, okay? So what creates the key squares is the pawn. So the pawn right now is on c3, right? On c3. So the key squares are two ranks in front of the pawn. So here is this rank, and here's the second rank. And on the second rank, these key squares are going to be three. One, two, and three. Okay? So those are the key squares. So let me see if I can get rid of the yellow. Maybe not. So here are the three square, oh, wrong color. Here are the three squares I want. And these are the three squares for the pawn on c3. Okay, so the pawn creates the three squares. Okay, and it's done by by counting two squares in front of the pawn, two ranks, right? And the pawn creates like three key squares, right? The one in front and on the side, on the two sides of the pawn, right? And those become key squares. Now, what's the relevancy of this? What's the point of this? Oh, sorry. So what is the point of the key squares? Okay, let me tell you. The point of the three squares is if the white king is standing on any of these three squares, it's a win for white. It's a win for white. Okay? So basically key squares tell the white king where he should be in order to win. Okay? And the pawn creates the key squares by the rule. And the rule is the key squares are two squares in front of the pawn, and there are three squares. Okay? Okay, are we clear on this? Any questions? All right. Now, now, and this is only true if the pawn hasn't crossed the equator. Then you count two squares in front of the pawn. Okay? If the pawn has crossed the equator, the key squares change a little bit. Okay, but right now the pawn is behind the equator. Okay, he hasn't crossed the fourth rank. Okay, and since he hasn't crossed the fourth rank, that is the rule. Two squares in front of the pawn create key squares. Now the question is, it's white to move. Can he reach? Can he reach one of the three squares? If the white king can land on one of the king squares, then white will win. Okay? And now what we're going to do, we're going to calculate in stages. Okay? So let's see. So should I give each side two moves or should I give each side three moves? Okay? All right. So let's say I'm going to attempt to move toward here and try to enter maybe this one or that one, okay, in order to win, okay? If I land either on d5 or c5, white will win, yes? Okay, so let's see how this works. So let me mark the key squares again, and I'm gonna now let's say, well, the entry point to this squeeze is going to take me one, two, three moves. Okay, it's going to take me three moves. Try to enter one of the key squares. Okay, so now I'm going to give white three moves, and my king then will be on d4, right? That's where my king is going to be on d4 and three moves, right? Now, another question is where would black be in three moves? Okay, that's the question. All right. So let's say in three moves. So one, two, three, one, and two. So if black goes this way, okay, he would lose, right? Because then I would have So let's say, so basically I'll go 1, 2, 3, and he will go 1 and 2, right? So if he goes, if we go here, and he goes here, and we go here, he goes here, and then we go here on the third move, okay? And now this is a win. It's a win for white, okay? Because he has opposition, opposition. And what is opposition? Opposition is when the kings are, okay, next, looking at each other with one square separation, an odd number, and they're on the same line, and that's opposition. So whichever king moves on the same line with an odd number of squares between them is the king that has opposition. It is a stronger king, yes? And now, and now, now I will be able to enter, okay, one of the key squares. For example, if he moves here, I have a position again. Okay, same line, odd number of squares. And now when he moves again, okay, this is called knight opposition. Okay, I can move here, knight opposition. You see, knight opposition. And when he goes here, I have now direct opposition. Okay, and I'm making progress. And now when it goes here, this position is called the I win position. When the king is in the sixth rank, and the pawn is going to come behind the king, this is always a win. Doesn't matter who's moving this. So this is one of those positions you should memorize. Okay. Um, okay, but there's something wrong with this variation. So let's go back and see what's wrong with it. Okay. Here's the problem. Okay. It's going to take me 3 moves to get here, right? And here are the key squares. Okay. So when I go 1, 2, 3, so I want to land here, right? So let me make this in green. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. What's going to happen here? So when I land here, okay, so he will go 1, he will go 1, 2, and 3. Okay, he's going to follow this path. So on the third move, when I land here, okay, well, I should be able to win this too. Okay, hold on, let me see this. So let's see. So here, 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 and if he plays this, then I can play this and this. Okay, white is still winning this. White is still winning this. White is still winning this. Okay, hold on. That's interesting. For some reason, I thought the only answer would be to come around the pawn, but it seems like according to this formula here, if I play here, he plays here, okay, and if I play here, he can play. I mean, if he plays here, we have opposition, and that's winning, okay. And if he goes here, and even if I come here, and he goes here, then after this, oh, this is a draw. This is a draw. Okay? Because if I play here, if I play this is a draw because the king has to be in front of the pawn to win. And now the king is on the side of the pawn. So this is a draw. Okay? So the king always has to be in front of the pawn. All right? And now if he goes here, and black has opposition. And by black having opposition, the white king cannot get to the key squares, okay? Because the black king stops it. So if he goes here, and we'll just follow him, and the key squares are always shut down, okay? And the white king cannot land on them. You see that? And it's a draw, okay? So what this means then is what? Okay, so let's try to make 3 moves by going this direction, okay? So let's see. So if I go here, let's say 1, 2, 3, and I give black 3 moves. Okay, 1, 2, okay, and he cannot land here because our king already is there. And if he goes here, then we can have opposition and we're winning. Okay, and we're kind of calculating stages. So let's take a look. So now, if I play here, see, and now opposition. And whichever he goes here, if he goes to the left, we'll go to the right with knight opposition. Okay. the separation of the two kings. Okay, it's a distance of a knight, and if we continue making moves, okay, we have again direct opposition. If he moves again, we have direct opposition. The pawn is going to go get here. This is the I win position. Doesn't matter whose move it is, white always wins. Okay, so that's the position here. Um, yeah, so thank you. And so this is some ideas here how to figure this out. Okay, so to figure this out, you need like two things. Okay, two things. Number one, you need to understand key squares, and the key squares are going to tell you what is the winning position. Okay, and if you can reach that position, then you're winning. Okay, now are you going to be able to reach that position? And the way you figure it out is calculation in stages, and you can do it by giving yourself, let's say, three moves in a row. Give your opponent three moves in a row, then visualize the position, and then move again, maybe one or two moves ahead. Give him two moves in a row, and then fix the position and see where things look. Okay, and then you're going to be able to tell whether you're able to get to the key position or the key squares. Okay, by calculating stages. Okay, so again, so if we calculate, let's say, if I calculate stages, let's say one, two, and three. So my king now is going to be here in three moves, right? And I now count for him one, two, and he cannot go three here. He cannot go there because my king will be here on the third move already, right? So that means he has to make a detour and land there, right? Right? And then by me coming over here, I know I'm winning because my king has opposition, okay? And my king is in front of the pawn, and I have opposition to his king, and that's a win. I don't need to calculate anymore. I just notice a win, okay? Because my king is in front of the pawn, and I have opposition because I'm facing his king, and there's a separation of one square between the kings, and that's a theoretical win, okay? And that's all I need to know, okay? Um, there you go. And that's what this is about. Okay. So let me take a look here for a sec and see. Rusens 123, welcome to the chat. Um, you're welcome to make a note in the chat if you like. And if I do catch it and you have a question, I'll be able to answer it. Anyway, yeah, so that's the way this works. Now let's move on to the next one. And let's see what we can pick up from the next one. Um, let's go here. And this is really kind of an easy one. And it's easy. Things are always easy when you know something, okay? And if you don't know, it's not so easy. So in this position, it's black to move. And what we're going to do here, what I'm going to do here is show you something called the rule of the square, okay? And the idea is if the king moves into the square of the pawn, he will stop the pawn and it will be a draw. Okay? If not, the pawn will safely queen and white is going to win. Now, let's take a look what's going on here. Okay, so this is the position. So this is the position, and it's black to move, and we need to figure out what the result is going to be here. What is the result? Okay, again, the name of this puzzle is called the rule of the square, and it's a simple idea. The pawn makes a square. It's a geometric figure, a square, has four corners, okay? And the idea is if the black king enters the square, it's a draw. The black king is going to catch the pawn, it's a draw. It will be king against king. But if the black king is outside the square and it's white to move, then white is going to win because the pawn is going to promote to a queen or the rook, and the black king is unable to catch it. Okay, so that's the concept. All right, so now let me show you how to draw the square and then we'll chat. Are you ready? Here we go. All right, so this is the basic idea. The square has four corners, and one of the corners, if the pawn has moved, if the pawn has moved, the pawn has moved, because originally the pawn is on A2, it has moved. If the pawn has moved, the first corner is with the is the corner, is the square where the pawn is standing on. That's the first corner. Okay. All right. And then you draw a diagonal in this way, and this becomes the second corner, right? And the pawn is going to go to promote here. Now we have three corners and we have a triangle, right? So now corner one, let's say, corner two, corner three, right? And where's the fourth corner? The fourth corner must be here, okay? And now we see the square, right? We see the square now. So let me just connect all the points and you see the square, all right? So here's the square. So let me do it. Wrong color. Okay, so let me do this. So this is the square, and now you know how we drew the square. Okay, corner one, and you draw a line on a diagonal, and there it is. And then you go to the promotion square, there it is. And then the last line will be to find the fourth corner, and here it is. All right, and now you connect all the corners, and you see you have a square. Okay. All right. So that's how you draw a square. Okay. So we're gonna solve this not by counting. We're gonna do it visually by using geometry. Okay. It is much more precise. It is accurate and it's easy. Okay. So do you understand this point? Anybody? You see what I'm talking about? Baby, are you there? All right. And now if it's black to play, black is going to move here. And guess what? He has entered the square. And therefore, by the rules I gave, it must be a draw. Okay? All right? Now, I don't want that. So, okay, let me get rid of it. All right. So let me see. So here's the square again. Here's the square, right? Now, right now the black is outside the square, right? He's outside the square. So if it's white to move, it's a done deal. White wins because the black king can never enter the square, right? So if it's white to move and black king right now is outside the square, white is going to win. But if it's black to move, he's going to enter the square. It's a draw. So let's take a look. So if black move, he enters the square and the pawn runs, and he goes on the diagonal and catches the pawn. Draw. All right. Okay, so the box and the square is the same thing. Okay, the rule of the square or the rule of the box, whatever you want to call it. Okay, you draw this pattern, and now you know how to do it, and you know how it works, and yada yada yada. It's easy peasy, lemon squeezy. It cannot be that hard, right? All right, let's move on to the next one. And let me see the next one. And the next one is what? The next one is this. The next one is this. Okay, so this is about triangulation or something called a triangle. And the way I'm going to calculate this is by using opposition. Okay, opposition. All right? All right. So we're going to use the triangle. So the lesson here is the triangle and calculation by opposition. All right? So let me show you how I do it, and we'll do it. And let me pass on this knowledge to you, baby. Baby. All right. So here's the position, our starting position. Okay. So get familiar with this position a little bit. Take a look at it, and yeah, then we'll continue. I'll give you a few seconds, 20 seconds or so, to look around and get familiar. And yeah. Well, so in this position, white is playing for a win, and black is playing for a draw, right? And white has an extra pawn. All right. All right. So here we go. Good, good, good. And let's go to this one. And and yeah. So Mellow Mood Dude is a streamer. So try to look at his stream. He's a fun guy. And yeah. And he's a nice guy. Fun and nice. That's a good combo. All right. So let's take a look, see how this works. All right. So here's the position. Here's the position. Now, one of the things I said is it's called triangulation, and triangulation means triangle, right? That's the root word, triangle. And here's a triangle. The triangle is made of 3 points. Okay. So let me draw these points. So here's okay. So here's one. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. That's not what I want. Okay. So this is what I want to do. Can I do this? Yeah. So here's a triangle. These three squares make up the triangle. Connect the dots and you have a triangle, right? So what's going to happen is the white king is going to move in the pattern of the triangle, and therefore he's going to gain a position, and therefore by gaining a position, he's going to make progress and win the game. Okay? Either by promoting the C pawn or winning the A6 pawn. All right? Now, how would I go about doing this? Let's take a look. Now, most of the books, excuse me, that's not what I want. That's not what I want either. Okay, so this is the starting position. So most of the books start the process by going here and then going here and then making the triangle this way, right? Okay. I mean, the way I do it is a little bit different, and the way I do it is to start with this move, okay? And why this move? Because my king moves in opposition of the black king, right? And let me just make the move and show you. Okay? So look at this. Okay, there are three squares. There are three squares, one, two, three squares between the kings, right? So to have a position, you have to have three prerequisites. The kings have to be in line, which they are, and there should be an odd number of squares between the kings. Okay, so if you can move on a line with the opposing king on the same line, and there are three different lines. There's the vertical line, horizontal, and diagonal line, right? But on the vertical line and on the horizontal line, you can have something called a color code. Okay, and what is a color code? Okay, color code is my king moves on a white square matching the black king. Okay, so now we're on the same color. So basically, what I'm doing is matching the color of the black king by going on the same color that black king's on, and by doing that, I'm on the same line, and by being on the same color, I always create odd number of squares between the kings. Okay, you understand? And now if he moves forward, I have this move, and now I have opposition. And when the king does move somewhere, I have entry, and I'm going to pick up the A pawn and win the game. Yeah. All right. Now let's go back. Okay. So by playing here, I move into opposition, and let's say he moves somewhere. All right. And now he's on a black square, and I follow him on the black square. I'm on the same line, and there's odd number of squares, one, two, and three. Right. Okay. Now he moves again, and now, so I started here. Okay. I started here on D5, and I moved here. Right. And now I'm going to move here. Right. Okay, and now move here. So basically, I have moved in a triangle pattern, right? I have moved in a triangle pattern, right? So basically, I moved here, I moved here, and I moved here. I completed a triangle, and now it doesn't matter what it does. I'm gonna get opposition. So if he plays here, I have opposition, and I'm gonna win, like in previous example, right? And if he moves, let's say here, right? If he moves here, right? And now I have direct opposition. And when he moves here, I push the pawn and it's no check. Now, no check is always a win. Okay. And if it's a check, it probably will be a draw. But if I push the pawn to the center with no check, it's going to be a win. So when he plays here, I get control of the promotion square, and now he's going to move here. And now I have to be careful. If I promote to a queen here, it's a stalemate. So most likely, I'm going to either promote to a rook, okay, or even better, I can come here and push him over here, and then I can promote to a queen. And when he comes here, I can mate him like this. Okay. Okay. So what is the idea here? What is the idea here? Okay. So there are two ideas here. There are two ideas here. Okay. Triangulation, move the white king in a triangle, and then that's going to create a zugzwang and put you in a position, and then you can make progress. Okay, that's one idea. And the other idea is calculate according to a position rule. Okay, and the position rule says the king should be on the same line and on the same color, and that will create odd number squares between the kings. And that's the way it is. And let's take a look. So I move in the same line, and the kings are on the same color, right? And that creates odd number of squares between the kings. And now when he moves, okay, I move the same line and same color, and that creates odd number of squares between the kings, right? And if he moves again, okay, and now I move to the top of the pyramid or the triangle by moving up. And then if he comes here, I have opposition. And when he moves again, I enter and I win the pawn. And it's all over. So this is triangulation. This is triangulation. Rule of the triangle. And the one before that is called the rule of the square. And this is the rule of the triangle. And and that's the way this works. Any questions, statements, proclamations, declarations, or confessions? Okay. Okay. How clear was this? Did it make any sense? Okay, so this is the way I think about this position when I see it, and yeah. And now, if you think that's useful, it makes sense to you, then adapt it, use it, and you'll be fine. Okay, and hey, Evan Star, very good, thank you, good to see you. I think this is the first time I have seen you on my chat. Well, welcome, good to see you. So, how long have you been playing chess? All right, great. Okay, so today a presentation. What I'm doing today is Endgames, and the theme is they're easy. Oh, so you took a break from chess, huh? I took a break too, and only now. Yeah, yeah. Well, good, good, good. Yeah. Did you play in tournaments before? Oh, I see. Okay. Well, I hope you find this useful, or if you know it, maybe yeah, maybe you can give me a critique of how I'm trying to explain these puzzles, and maybe we can make some improvements. Oh, super! Turkey, Istanbul, baby. Are you from Istanbul? Yeah, great, super, super. Yeah, yeah, I do like the Turkish music. Oh, great. Now, what does it say? Uh, Il Ilya ask Asdel. Oh, super, super. All right then. All right. So let's struggle on. Let's struggle on, or maybe not struggle too much, because I will try to make the struggle not a struggle. Okay, at least I will try. Okay, so maybe I can introduce some methods that's going to kind of simplify the problem, and by making it simpler, then the solution should be simple too. All right, so let's move on. Let's move. Oh, by the way, if you are here for the first time, do follow me. There's a little heart somewhere here. If you click on the heart, you'll be notified when I'm streaming, and then you can follow me. And also, I do have YouTube. Is it YouTube? Yeah, it's YouTube, and under Punk Monk Z, so you can check it out. And usually I have lots of instructional stuff there, and you can go there and maybe use it in a good way. And yeah, and and yeah, if you like the content, you can support the channel. You can subscribe if you wish, and I shall move on to the next one. Headbanger baby, good to see you. Okay, we're doing Endgames, baby, Endgames. All right, and how to make your life easier by understanding Endgames. There must be an easy way. There must be an easy way to understand Endgames, and my task is to find that way. So I call this Endgames, the easy way, baby. Endgames. It's simple. All right. Now, you know what? I mean, if you cannot control a few pieces, how can you control a full set of pieces? You see what I mean? So start with small, master it, and then you can simplify and control the big. All right, then. Let me move on. Okay. Let me move on, baby. So how do I do this? This way. All right. So we did this, the rule of the triangle, and now let's move on. Let's move on, baby. What's here? Oh, man. This is easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Okay, the next topic is breakthrough. Okay? Breakthrough is a very powerful weapon in pawn endgames. And now we have three pawns against three pawns, and we're going to see what we can do. Now, what is the point of the breakthrough? The point of the breakthrough is to create a pass pawn, and a pass pawn becomes a queen. Okay, that is the point of the breakthrough, to create a pass pawn so you can make a queen. All right, that's the basic idea of the breakthrough. Now, for this to happen, your pawn should be probably across the equator, far advanced, because for you to get a pass pawn, you probably have to sacrifice two of them here. So it's three against three. You're going to sacrifice two to get one through, baby. And that's called breakthrough, getting a pass pawn. All right. Okay. So let's do this and see how this might work. So this is a very classical example of breakthrough. And wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. You should not see this move. All right, now you don't see it. All right. So here's the position. Get familiar with this position a little bit, then we'll chat. All right. So we have three pawns against three pawns, and I mean, normally you would think if you have a majority, for example, 2 pawns against one, 3 pawns against two, something like that. Okay, when you advance the majority, you will get a pass pawn. But now you're learning that you can actually get a pass pawn even if the numbers are the same. If the two groups meet and the number in each group is the same, you can still produce a pass pawn. Okay, so that's kind of unique. Yes. All right. So let's see how this works. Are you ready? So we have the ABC pawns. ABC, baby. Okay, let me do the ABC here. Okay, here we go. A, B, and C. All right. Nice green, yeah? Okay. Now we have to advance one of these pawns and see if we get a pass pawn. And we start with the B pawn, the one that's in the middle. Okay? So we go. It's a spear. We push the spear in, right, in the middle. And now what we want to do is to either take the C pawn and make a queen, or we want to take the A pawn and make a queen. So this is our intention. Yes. Of course, that will never happen because it's black to move. Now, what will happen, for example, if the A pawn took? Now, I want to talk about this position now and explain something. And the first thing you should notice that the A pawn has no pawns in front of it, right? And that gives you a clue that the A pawn will become a queen, baby. The A pawn will become a queen because there's no pawns in front of it, okay, on the A line, okay? So there's nothing on the A line, therefore the A pawn will become a queen. Now, of course, when the A pawn advances, the B pawn is going to stop it, right? So what you need to do is to play this move, to move the B pawn, to clear the way for the A pawn to move by removing the B7 pawn. And now we're threatening very simply to take the B pawn and to make a queen. So what's going to happen here is that the B pawn is going to take the C pawn, and now the way is clear for the pawn to advance and become a queen, yeah? And now we advance, and in two moves is going to be a queen, okay? So let's go back quickly, okay? Let's recap. So use the spear, push the middle pawn, and now black has to take on b6. Yes, if he takes with the a pawn, we know there's nothing in the way. There's nothing in the way of the a pawn. We know now that the a pawn will become a queen. Okay, and now we do a deflection on the b pawn, and the b pawn is deflected, and the a pawn is clear to move and promote. Yeah. Okay, so that's very simple. Now let's go back here to do this again. We're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to take with a C pawn, right? Now, now, according to what I said before, people, okay, you should know now which pawn, A or C, will become a queen. Who can tell me? Which pawn will become a queen? The A or the C pawn? It's a no-brainer, baby. It's a no-brainer. And what's the meaning of no-brainer? It takes no brains to figure it out, baby. So what is the answer? Of course, it's a C pawn. The pawn that has no pawns in front of it is going to be the queening pawn. All right? And let's look at it. Now, of course, there's an obstacle for the C pawn. So what we're going to do is remove the obstacle by playing A6. We're going to divert the B pawn, and that's what happens. And then now the C pawn is clear to move and promote in two moves. Yeah. Okay. So that's it. Okay, that's it. Okay, that's it. Now, to the question, where should the pawns be? Okay, for a breakthrough to happen, the pawns should be advanced as far as possible. Okay, and then when you make the sacrifices, you have to calculate that you're the one that promotes first. Okay, and if everything is kosher, then you can do it. Okay, and that's the way this is. And let's move on. Let's move on. And now we're going to look at breakthrough. Again, we're going to take a look at breakthrough. Now, this is going to be 4 against 4. 4 against 4. So we looked at 3 against 3. Now let's look at 4 against 4. Breakthroughs. All right? Are you ready, Jelly Belly? Yeah, I turned the music off. Headbanger. I'll tell you later why. Because when I uploaded Twitch to YouTube, uh, there were copyright issues with the music, and I'm not really sure what music I can use. So yeah, and yeah, so that's the problem, and that's why I decided. And actually, guess what? I am listening to music, but I turned the speaker off. Okay, so I'm able to hear it, but unfortunately, you're not. So I apologize. Yeah. Well, they did not remove it, but they said everything is kosher, but I can't monetize it. That's the problem. Okay. So I have like 8 hours. Like I have full videos I did, and there's background music, and it's not I cannot monetize those videos, those full videos, and it's 8 hours for work. So I think I have to redo it at some point. Anyway, so that's that. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so here we go. But you see, I can still do this. I can still do this. And when you're looking at me, you say, "What's wrong with this dude? What is wrong with this dude?" I mean, he's moving around. Okay, and there's no music. Is he nuts? But you know what? There is music on my end, baby. I'm listening to it. Okay, hello, hello. Yes, I'm doing it. Okay, so let's take a look at this position and let's try. Let's see if we can make sense of it. Okay. Now, how do I understand this position? Okay. So this is Endgames made easy. Okay. All right. So I think one of the things what I want to do uh, is to create a mismatch. A mismatch. What am I talking about? So basically, in order to create a pass pawn, I have to create a majority. But there's no majority here. It's 4-4. Okay. So what I have to do is create a 2-to-1 ratio. Okay. Where I can push one of the two pawns forward and against one pawn, and that will create a pass pawn. So let's see how this might work. Okay. So we'll start with this move, with this move. And what is the point of this move? And the point of this move is this is done. Okay. We have now created a 2-to-1 ratio. 2, 2. Okay, let me do it in this color. We have created 2, right, against 1. Okay. So when I push here, it is 2 against 1. And this is coming, right? And and after we take back, this pawn is going to move forward and become a queen. You see that? Okay, so that's a secret here, I think. Okay, is to create a majority or a mismatch, 2 against 1. Okay, so let's try it. So after this, if this is done, then we have 2 against 1, 2 against 1. Okay, and we're winning. And we're gonna push by 2 against 1. We get a pass pawn. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. All right, let's go back. So after this move, okay, what happens if this pawn takes? Okay, if this pawn takes, okay, how do we create 2-to-1 here? Okay, then you continue here, okay, and now we have a 2-to-1 because we're going to do this next, right? You see that? We're creating a 2-to-1. And now when he kills that, okay, what happens now? Now we can sack here, okay, now we're going to take here and make a queen, yeah? So he has to remove the g3 pawn. And guess what? Guess what? This is a pass pawn now. Okay? Pass pawn. So the breakthrough did create a pass pawn, and now it's all over because it's going to advance and there's no way to catch it. Okay? So so do you see? So when I look at this position, this is what I'm thinking about. Okay? Which pawn advance do I want to make to create a 2-to-1 ratio? Okay, and then I look around and so I want to create a 2-to-1 ratio to produce a pass pawn. That's it. Okay, where's the 2-to-1? Can I get a pass pawn right away? Yes or no? If a yes, I do it. If it's no, how do I create a 2-to-1? Then I create one. Yes. So that's how simple it is. All right. All right. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, baby. That's what I'm talking about. All right. So this was pretty simple. Now tell me, people. Okay, but tell me, people, is this simple? Endgame simple? Am I making it simple? That's my question. Okay. So yeah, yeah, yes. So that's the whole point. Okay. So the endgame should not be a mystery, some kind of enigma. Okay. We should be intelligent enough to break it down. Okay, into some kind of meaningful tools. Okay, and then we apply these tools, and everything makes sense. Well, okay, I teach chess. I teach chess, and you know, I mean, endgame is not my forte. Okay, but neither are openings. Okay, or other things too. But okay, but if I'm going to teach, I have to improve my level of understanding. I have to improve my knowledge. I have to develop certain skills, and so I have to teach myself. I have to teach myself. So I go over material and I try to teach myself. I try to break it down so I can understand it. And I'm sharing with you my understanding how to do this. Okay. And there you go. All right. Here we go. Let's move on. Let's move on, baby. All right. Oh, this is so sweet. This is so sweet. I actually coined this problem. I actually coined this problem, and I call it the swinging monkey, baby, the swinging monkey. All right. I'm going to show you the monkey, and the monkey is swinging, baby. Okay, so how does this work? Swinging monkey. All right. Are you ready for the swinging monkey? All right, here we go. Let me click on this. Click, 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 click. Okay. So here's my idea. Not my idea, but this is the base idea. I want to push this pawn to A8 and make a queen. Okay? Very simple, right? So what I want to do is move the rook and then push the pawn and make a queen. Okay? How easy is this? This idea is so easy. So let me see this idea uh, without resistance, okay? Without resistance. So let's say the rook is the monkey. The rook is the swinging monkey. It is in this corner, A8. It's going to swing to the other corner, okay, which is H8. Swinging monkey, baby. Hi there, monkey. Here's the monkey. It swung, right? And now, for example, to make this to make this easier to understand, the idea is now to make a queen. Okay? And then when this is done, I can take back. And this is an easy peasy lemon squeezy, no brainer position. King and rook versus king is a win. And if there are no pawns on the board, if there's no pawns on the board, usually to win, you have to have a value of 5 or greater to win. Well, the rook is 5. Actually, maybe it is 5.25. So it's 5 or more. So this is a forced win. Okay? So so you can have a queen that's greater than 5. You can have two bishops, it's greater than 5. You can have a bishop and knight, it's greater than 5. Okay. You can have two rooks, it's greater than 5. Okay. Now two knights are greater than 5, but it's not a forced win. Okay. Uh, which is kind of exception to the rule of 5. Okay. Because two knights is greater than 5, but somehow together they're not able to force a checkmate. They can do a helpmate. That means the opponent must help the two knights, help them set up the checkmate, but it's not force. But with other pieces like a rook, queen, two bishops, knight and bishop, it's always a force mate. There's no defense. Okay? So this is the rule of 5. No pawns. You need to have a piece that has a value of 5 or greater in order to force a mate. Okay, guys? All right. So let's go back here. Let's go back here. I want to show you this again. So now you're thinking, wait a minute. When the monkey swings, the rook can take, yeah? And that's the problem with the monkey, you say. Your monkey is what? Your monkey sucks. Okay, but you said, no, no, no. I'm going to do an X-ray, baby, and then pick up your rook. And we get the same result as in the previous example, right? We are plus 5 or plus 5.25, and we're winning because you have value of 5 or more, right? So this is winning, all right? So let's go back. Let me go back here. Let me go back all the way. So this is the position. It's about swinging monkey. The only thing I can say here, if the king was maybe on this square or this square, there'll be no swinging monkey because the rook cannot go to the corner, and this will be a draw. No swinging monkey, it's a draw. Okay, if the rook blocks the pawn on the seventh, so this will be a draw. Only if the black king was on G7 or G7 or H7. Okay, those are the safe corners or drawing squares. Yeah. All right. So that's it. That's it. That's it. Swinging monkey, baby. All right. So we have some people here. Let me see who they are. Do I know them? Let me see. Do I know them? Uh, yeah, yeah. Ghosty boat. You're here, baby. All right. Good to see you. Okay. All right. Very good. Okay. So if you're watching and you want to be identified, okay, roll call, baby. Just put something in the chat. Just roll call, and now you just put your name there, and you say, yeah, baby, I'm here. Okay, and yeah, you're in class. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? All right. So so far so good. Let's move on. Let's move on. What do we have here? So let's see what else I have here for you guys. And yeah, that was the swinging monkey. Oh, this is so sweet. This is so sweet. All right. All right. So this is the next position. This is the next position. Take a look at it a little bit. Get familiar with it. Then we'll chat. Baby, we're going to do some chatting. Anyway, if you're on chess.com, I have a little group called Punk Punk Z there. It has a open door policy. You can just join. No approval needed. And actually, I created the Endgame forum there, and I'm using the Endgame forum right now from there that I put in. And so anyway, so there'll be a lot of benefits if you join the group, become a Punk Monk Z member, and be one of us. And don't forget to subscribe, baby. There's a little button somewhere to do that. There's a little rabbit hole somewhere, and it's in the chat window. There's a little diamond. Click on the diamond, click on the rabbit hole, and see where it goes, baby. See where it goes. Yeah, all you have to do, Mello, is on chess.com. You join a group that's called Punk Monk Z. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so that's all you do, and then I have instructional. I'm gonna put some instructional stuff in the group. Okay, and I started with this stuff that I'm doing today. I have posted all of this in that group, and I will keep adding stuff to it. And there are other stuff we're gonna do with the group. We started two World Chess games already. Um, we're gonna do some matches in the future, and then maybe we'll have some in a tournament with the members of the Punk Monk Z group. They're gonna play each other, and I'll connect it to Twitch. Okay, and yeah, so there's some interesting stuff. I sound like a gangster. Well, maybe I'm a gangster. Okay. I mean, I think we're all gangsters. Yeah. Am I Italian? Well, I would like to be, but I'm not. But very close, actually. Very close. Very close. But not Italian. When I say very close, I mean there's a country that's pretty close to Italy, where I was born. Yeah. And yeah, but I left the old country when I was a kid. And yeah, so that's the way it is. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Super, super. So, so here's the position. Look at this position, guys. Look at this position, and yeah, and let's figure out how to play this. Let's figure out how to play this. Okay, okay. Any thoughts? Any ideas how to do this before I take over the universe? All right, all right. Here we go. So let's take a look, and here we go. All right. Now look at this. By playing this move, bishop to e5, you are caging the knight. The knight is caged. Okay? The knight cannot move. Okay? And the knight has these squares to move to, right? Potentially. Okay? And by moving by moving the bishop here, right? You're shutting down the potential squares for the knight. So the bishop is dominating the knight, okay? So now all of a sudden, we have a huge miscap. So the knight is out of the game. The knight is out of the game, right? And now we have, three pieces, one, two, three against one. So the ratio now is three against one because we took the knight out of the equation, right? So it's three against one. So in the end games, in order to win, you create mismatches, okay? Mismatches, all right? And then you create a preconditions for a win. You create a mismatch. So it could be like two pieces against one. That's a mismatch. Or three pieces against two. That's a mismatch. Or 4-2, whatever. Okay, you create a mismatch, and the mismatch is created by counting the pieces, not the value of the pieces, by counting the pieces as a unit. So now we have here white has 3 units, and the knight is out of the commission, and so it's 3 units against 1 unit, the king, the black king. Okay, so you create a mismatch. Well, okay, so let me do this. Let me do this first. Okay, let me see how to do this. Hold on a second, guys. Let me see how to do this. No, this is not what I want. Hold it, hold it. Well, hold the people. Okay, I did something wrong here. Just a minute. Okay, hold on. Oh, hold on. I'm trying to correct something here. Okay, hold on. Okay, so I mean, I would appreciate if the chat is kept clean. Okay. Otherwise, I will remove people that are not clean about what they say. All right. So you have been warned, and if this continues, you'll be removed. All right. So here we go. So let me go back. My music went off, so let me put the music back on, guys. Um, Let me put the music back on, and I will start again. Okay. All right. All right. All right. All right. So let's go back to our position. All right. So now how do we continue? Okay, so the knight is imprisoned, encaged, and it is black to play, right? And if black moves something like this, we can advance. Okay, we can advance. Okay, maybe we'll move here and then keep advancing the pawn. And now when he stops us, okay, what do we do? Well, we can push the pawn to d6. Notice that knight cannot move. Okay, and when the king attacks the bishop, we can actually sacrifice the bishop by moving forward. And when the bishop is taken, the pawn is unstoppable. Okay, and the pawn is going to promote. White is going to have a queen. Black is going to have a knight. That's a no-brainer. Queen beats knight, and white wins. Yes. So that's the basic idea. So what happened here? Let's go back. So the idea is, okay, you play against pieces, okay, and you play for domination. Bishop to e5 dominates the knight. Knight is out of the equation. Knight cannot play. Knight cannot help black. And then we just move advance and try to promote the pawn. And that's what happens. And now it's too late for the knight to come back because if the knight does come back, it's promotion. And it's too late. So the domination actually assisted white in promoting safely. Okay, domination. Okay, so you play against pieces. Okay, so if you look at this position, there's actually two lessons. Number one, domination, and number two, okay, mismatch. 3 units against 3 units. Let me show you. 1, 2, 3 against one. Okay, and you create a mismatch. 3 against 1, and that's it. So domination and mismatch. That's the lesson here. Okay. All right then. All right. So let's move on. And let's go to the next one. All right. Okay, this is fun. This is fun. Okay. And look at this position and share with me some thoughts about this position. Okay, connection required. What happened? Oh, so much anger, okay, in these chats. You know what I'm saying? All right. Let me see. What can I do here? Okay. Let me see. All right. All right. So this position is about majorities. Okay. So one of the things I do when I look at position to figure out, what is the material balance, I do something, I don't know, you can call it canceling or elimination. So basically, I eliminate all the things which are the same. For example, I have 3 pawns here, right? 3 pawns here, and black has 3 pawns here. So these cancel out. Okay. And then there are two. Black has 1 pawn. I have 1 pawn here. So basically I'm a pawn up, right? By using cancellation, and I want to make a queen. Yeah, that's how simple this is. Okay, so what do I need to do? Okay, so basically I cannot be pushing pawns to create a passed pawn because that pawn is not safe. So what I'm going to do? I want to bring my king to the center and centralize my king first, and then try to create a passed pawn. Okay, and then when I create a passed pawn, the black king has to try to stop the passed pawn, right? Okay, and I'm using a passed pawn as a decoy. So I'm moving the black king from the king side to the queen side. And when the black king shifts to the queen side, my king is going to shift to the king side. Okay, so so basically, the black king is the defender. The black king is the defender of black's position, right? He's the defender, and I'm going to remove the defender of these pawns by using a decoy. Okay, the pass pawn, and then when I pick up these pawns on the king side and win. And let's see how this is going to go. So the thing is to centralize first, right? Now let's go back here. So in this position, he's threatening to come here, right? So that's why we play this, right? And now he plays this move, threatening to come in, yeah? So now I cancel that, right? And we have this position. Now when he pushes here, I can just freeze those pawns, and I freeze them because when I attack him later, okay, they can't move, okay? And so let's say I just hold everything, and now I'm ready to create a pass pawn. When he moves, I can move in, and then I'm able now to move in. Excuse me, let me get rid of that. I'm able to move in and try to pick up the pawns, right? That's the idea, okay? And when he tries to stop me, and now I create a pass pawn. All right. So so if this is let's say a fox, and this is the guard dog, okay, I throw a bone. I throw a bone here, okay, to uh, to divert the king, okay, and try to catch the bone. And if this is the fox, The fox is going to move in into the chicken coop and eat the chickens. Okay, I hope you're not vegetarian. Okay, so that's the idea. So this little story, actually, I read in a book by Jeremy Silman on Endgames, and I thought it was kind of cute. Okay. Anyway, so and I think he called it the fox in the chicken coop. Okay. So this the fox, and the chicken coop is the house of the chickens, right? And he's going to go inside the house. He's going to go inside the house and get the chickens, right? Okay, and he's going to throw the bone here for the doggy to catch the bone, and then the chicken coop is left undefended. So that's the idea, and let's see if this works. All right. So here we go, and now guess what? He has to go in, and now he's going for the bone, and we go for the chickens. Yeah, baby, yum 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 yum, and yum yum. Oh la la. Okay, so that's the story on this. All right, so that's the position, and uh, and that's the way this works. So what you guys think? Super Patser, you're here, baby. Ghosty, Blue Eye, Mika Shak, 2006. Super Pats 2. Zen Keeper. Anyway, welcome to the show. We're doing end games, and we try to simplify them, try to understand them. And that's our task. That's my task. And let's see if this can be done. All right, let's move on. All right, so this position here, look at it. And for white to win, the defending king must be cut off 4 files from the white pawn. Okay, so that's the rule. That's the rule. All right, that's the rule. So this is the position. Now, is the defending king cut off 4 files? Let's take a look. Okay, so here's the pawn. So this is 1 file, second file, third file, and fourth file. So this king here, it's cut off from the pawn by 1, 2, 3, 4 files. So according to this rule, white should win. Okay, so that's your lesson. And in order to win, this rook has to be placed here. Okay, to challenge this rook, so the king can come out and then push the pawn for promotion. That's the idea. All right. So let's see how this works. So rook to c2. Okay. I guess you can also play here, I guess, and then come to this square, right? Okay. Or you can do it this way. Or you can do it this way. Doesn't matter. And now the king comes here. Okay. Now, if the king is able to get to this square c7, he's able to cage the white king. It'll be a draw. Okay. That's why the 4 file separation does not allow the king to go to c7 and cage, right? So here we go, pow, and there's a challenge. And now if this is played, will come out. Checky wecky will come out, checky wecky will come here, checky wecky will come here, and then we'll just come forward. Okay, what's he gonna do? And now we promote. Okay, so you see how this works? Okay, so your first lesson is separation by 4 files. And there it is. We have separation, and that allows white to win. The separation of 4 files. So now, now we have to move our rook to this square b8. Okay, to challenge the black rook, so that white king can come out. Right. So now let's you go here, and there, and the black king is not able to land here. okay, to cage the white king. Okay, he's a move short. And now when he moves here, we come out and checky wecky here. And now we saw this how this works, and we win. All right. Now, there's a better defense for black. Let's see how this might go. So let's say we go here, here. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. So let's go here, here. And now let's try a different move. This is a better maybe try to come here and try to somehow interfere, interfere with the white king when it comes out. Okay? And now when this is done, you see, we come out, check, and now notice now that it's not easy, I mean, to play this. It doesn't work because of this. And then when it comes here, we can go back again, you see, because this king here sets a barrier so that white king cannot move. Okay? Or even cannot move even this way because of the king being here. You see that? So the white king has to go here, and now it's a little bit more complicated. And now it's threatening to promote, yeah? So what's going to happen, he's going to play check, and now he's going to go here. So now if white promotes, it'll be a checkmate, yeah? See? So black is trying to create some chances to do something, to resist, right? So now the idea is to play check and then play check. Okay. Now the idea is if he plays this, we're going to promote with a queen to give a check, and then it's going to be queen against rook, and that is a win. Queen against rook is a win. Okay. All right. So and now the king moves, and now what do we do? We come back. We come back here. Okay. And now we're threatening to promote. Yeah. And now when the rook plays check, we can now hide here, and the rook is shielding the king from this rook here, and this is a win, yes, because how do you stop this move? You can't. All right, okay, let me change this music. I don't like this music. It's let me do something else. Okay, hold it. All right, all right, so I got rid of it. All right, okay, all right, so let's take a look at this very quickly. Let's take a look at this very quickly. And so So full file separation is a win, and if the rook is able to get to the square, that will allow the king to come out, and that's the basic idea. Okay, so and let me do it one more time. Okay, now let's go with a little better defense by going here, and now we can come up. We can play challenge first, challenge. Okay, and then we can come out. But now we cannot go here because we cannot make progress. So we have to go to C8 and then check. And now the kings are in opposition, and we can threaten checkmate by playing this. Yeah. And now by playing check and check, we try to use tactics to promote with a check. And when he moves, we can bring the rook back, and we're threatening promotion. Right? So now rook is played check and check again, and now the white king, is shielded by the rook, and he's threatening to promote on a8, and this is not stoppable, and white will win. Yeah. All right. So that's how this works. Come on, come on, Mishka. Can you just stop the discussion in the chat? There's no point to this. Okay. And let's just do chess. Okay. Let me see. Okay. All right. And So I have to block some people here. I don't like doing this. Okay. And, but I have no choice. Okay, I have no choice. All right. Okay then. Um, all right. So two are out, unfortunately, but that's the way it is. I have to figure out how to do this. Strange. All right then. So here we are. So let's move on to the next puzzle and see what we can pick up. All right. This is so simple. It's so easy and so pleasing in a way. All right. So let's take a look at this position. And okay, guys, what do you think of this position? Okay, it is white to play. And what are your thoughts about this position? How can white win this? What is the most efficient way to do this? That's the question. Wow, there's so many people in the chat talking. Okay. Okay, it's okay now, Mello. I mean, I think I've removed those guys. Anyway, yeah, that's the way it is. All right, so here we go. Here we go. Look at this position, guys. Look at this position. And let's figure it out how to do this. How do we do this? Okay, I think one of the things we have to do is keep the blocking in a small cage. Okay, and there'll be a quicker win if if the black king cannot run around. Okay, and having the rook on the c file creates a small cage, right? And and if you notice, for example, if you notice that the king only has two squares, only two squares to move to back and forth, right? Because why? Because of the cage that's made by the rook. All right. So it's very simple then to what to do. We have to keep the small cage intact. All right. And when it goes here, we can make a waiting move. And then when it goes in the corner, we create a triangle. And it's a mate in the corner. Okay. So create a small cage and then give the mate. Okay, let's look at it again. So this C5 is closed off, right? And the seventh rank is closed off, right? And the black king only has two squares, all right? So what I need to do is move the king to this position and then make a waiting move and then drop the rook on c8. And the king is in a small cage and it's mate. So here we go. Here, there, here, there, waiting move. And now he's in the Zugzwang. Any move he makes, it's catastrophic. Any moves here, it's making back rank. And that's the way this works. Okay? What did you think of that one? All right. So that's the way this is, and that's the way this works. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. It's not so hard, is it? All right. Okay. Now let's move on to the next one. Let's see what else we can learn here. Okay. I'm excited. Okay. I'm excited. All right. So this is the same thing about keeping the king in a small cage, yeah? Keeping the king in a small cage. Now look at this position. And if it's black to move, it's stalemate. If it's black to move, it's stalemate. So we have to give the black king some room to move, so it's not a stalemate. But we want to give him only enough room so it won't be a stalemate, and try to create a very tight room or tight cage. So what is the move here? The move here, obviously, must be what move? Anybody? Anybody, baby. Okay. Any thoughts? Any thoughts? It's an easy peasy lemon squeezy in position. Okay. We need to move. We cannot move the king. It's still a stalemate. So it has to be the rook move. And the question now is, where do I move the rook? Of course, of course, of course, of course. Okay. So Headbanger says we have to give the king some room, the black king some room, and we only give him enough room so he won't be stalemated. And when he attacks the rook, we still keep the small cage by holding the cage intact by moving the king to protect the rook. And when the king goes in the corner, we drop the rook down for the mate. Okay, so this is about small cages. Okay, so that's the lesson here. All right. That's the lesson, baby. What did I just do? I'm totally clueless, but I did it. All right. So let's do this. Let's do this. And let's go to the next one. Oh, this one is kind of nice. I love this one. Okay, because it's so simple. Okay. So look at this one, guys. Look at this one. And give me your thoughts about this one. What are some of your thoughts? Okay. How do you play this position? Okay, how do you play at this position? It should be easy. It should be easy. But what is the easy way? What is the easy way? Well, it's very simple. It's very simple. Okay, it's very simple. We have to confine the king. Okay, what do I mean? Okay, let me show you what I mean. Okay, so right now the king has one, two, three, four, 5 squares. The king has 5 squares, right? Right? But if the king moves here, the king is going to have one, two, three, four. Well, I was going to say 5, 6, 7, 8. I was going to say 8. So he has theoretically 8 squares, right? But if the king is on this square, it only has theoretically 2, 3, 4, and 5 squares. Okay? So by playing this move, you stop the king from expanding its power and you limit the king's power. So this is like putting the king in a smaller cage. Okay, you see, and now by moving the king forward, he only has 2 squares. You see that? Actually, he can 3 squares. You can go here, then come back, go here, and then come back maybe. So now he has, let's say, theoretically 3 squares, right? Okay, so in this position, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? If he comes here, he will have 8, right? Right? So by playing this move, you reduce the king, excuse me, by playing this, you reduce the king to 2 squares, right? Okay? And now, if the king starts to run, then you have to shut down the king from running, okay? And if the king runs, let's say, on this square, then you move the rook and shut down the king, okay? So it doesn't run, and force the king to face the white king. Okay, and that's also true. For example, if he tries to run here, and you will shut down so it doesn't run, cut the mobility down, and force the king to come back to this square again and face the white king. And then you can drop the rook either here or here, depending what variation he picked. Okay, so this is the way this works. Okay, so it's about king's mobility and shutting down king's mobility. So you're expanding your mobility and you're so it's expansion contraction thing. You're expanding your mobility and contracting your opponent's mobility. All right. So let's say he plays this, we shut down, and he goes back, it's mate. Yeah. And if he goes the other way, for example, okay, if it goes the other way to where, let's say, yeah, let's say if it goes here, for example, okay, we'll shut down the king's mobility, and when he goes back, then now the king, after the check, the king has no mobility. It's 0. The king is frozen, cannot move, cannot take, cannot run, cannot get help. Okay, there's a checkmate. So all the squares around the king are shut down. Okay, so let's shut him down here, 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 this, 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 and this. So the king, all the squares around the king are shut down. The king is hit, is check and mate. Okay, so that's the way this looks. So when we go back and you say, what is the lesson here? Okay, the lesson is about shutting down king's mobility. Okay, and when you do take a position, a headbanger, that's what you do. You shut down king's mobility. Yes, when you take a position by direct opposition, you go to e6. Yeah. All right. So that's the way this works. Okay. So what do you think, guys? Ghosty, what do you think? Okay, is the end game somewhat easier now for you as we start looking at these positions? Okay, and by looking at explanations and by looking at different methods on how to think about it, okay, and so on, okay, the problem becomes much more simplified and manageable. Yes? All right. Is that a yes, no, or maybe? All right. Good job. Good job. All right. Let's see what's next on the menu here. Let's see what's next on the menu and see what we can do here. Let's see what it. Okay. Now this is a famous one. Okay. This is a famous position. I think this position might come out of the Caracan opening. I think I have seen it. I think it's called a quad grip. 4 pawns against 4 pawns. I don't know what book I saw it in. Many, many years ago, I think. Anyway, so this is 4 against 4, okay? And we're going to talk about something called the cup, something called mismatch, and unopposed pawn, okay? So those ideas, those three ideas, making the cup, mismatch, and unopposed pawn, okay? Those are the things that's going to help us now understand this position. So let me make it bigger for us, and we'll start looking at it. Okay, so here's the position. And earlier I mentioned, okay, when you have a majority, a big group against a smaller group, okay, like 3-2, 2-1, or something like that, by advancing the unopposed pawn in the stronger group, you're able to create a passed pawn. Okay, but there are many cases, for example, where the two groups match. Okay, it's like 3-3 or 4-4 or something like that. Okay, and you can create a pass pawn, and the pass pawn is created because one side has the pawns more advanced. And if you have your pawns more advanced, those are much more valuable pawns than pawns which are not advanced because they're closer to promotion. Okay, and because they're closer to promotion, you have liberty to sacrifice a few of them for the sake of getting one through. Okay, and the one that gets through will become a queen, and that's going to compensate for the losses. And that's the idea. All right, so 4-4. Are you ready? Are you ready for this one? All right, so let's take a quick look how this might work. Okay, now, okay, so basically you can start with this move, and that will win, or you can start with this move, that will win. Okay, okay. Eventually, what you're going to do, you're going to push both of these pawns up, and and all the pawns will be on the fifth rank. You see that? And I call this the cup. So if you connect all the dots, that's not what I want to do. Let me show you what I mean by this. So if okay, let me do this. So okay, so if I go with this, okay, so those are the black pawns. This is the white pawn. If I move, let's say this pawn up and this pawn up, I'm going to have a cup, like a low cup here. See that? Okay. So this is the position we can get. Okay. And this position could be one of your targets, and this is a pattern. So let's see what happens. So let's say I play here, right? I play here. And now, if the king moves, I can play this. And now we have the cup, right? Here's the cup. One calls this a cup, but you have another word for this that you like better. I don't know. I just made it up. Okay. And now in this position, let's say he moves again. And now this is the chain here. Here's the chain, right? And you're attacking black, one of the pawns in the chain. And by playing this, you're attacking the chain itself. This one and this one. So you have attack pressure against the chain on both points, and that wins. Because now, for example, if this is after this, let's say if this is played, and now, if I want, I have a mismatch of two pawns against one, right? By playing maybe this, or I can even take this and get a pass pawn right away. Okay, and that's how I do that, and that's it. In 2 moves, it becomes a queen, right? Okay, let's go back. Okay, so let's say I play this again, and let's say he takes this. Okay, and now the mismatch happens. And how does the mismatch happen? We have two pawns against one, two against one. Okay, and that produces a pass pawn. All right. Okay, let's go back. Okay, so let's say I play here, and let's see what else can you try here. Um, okay, so that's the move I made. Okay. Um, okay, what else can you try here? Okay, what else can you try here? Well, if he takes here, if he takes here, we have a mismatch. It's going to be it's going to be two against one. It's being pushed, yeah. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so he has to move the king. What else can he do? Okay, let's say he moves the king. Let me play this. Okay, now black has some choices, but all the choices can be good. Now let's say he plays this way, right? Now one of the hints was unopposed pawn. So this pawn is clear to run. Okay, and here's the obstacle. Right? So now, according to the rule, remember 3 to 3, the pawn that's going to be the queen is the pawn that has no pawns in front of it. So this is our queen. Okay, and the only thing that's stopping this from becoming a queen is the pawn on f7. Okay, so now we use some kind of deflection. Okay, and threatening to take the pawn and make a queen. So he has no choice than to take here, and then the pawn runs through. In two moves, becomes a queen. Okay, so what else do I want to say here? Um, okay, let me go back. Okay, um, now let's say he might try this move. Okay, try this move. Okay, so now according to a rule of unopposed pawn, we know that this is a queen, right? Because there's no pawns in front of it, right? And the only thing that's stopping this pawn from becoming a queen is this one here. So we knock it out. Okay, do this, and now after this, it's clear. All right. Okay, so let me recap here. Let me recap. Okay, so I talked about the cup, right? I talked about the cup and having the pawns like this. Look at the cup. These two pawns are being moved up, so we create some kind of cup. Okay, we talked about that. That's a kind of a pattern help in the pattern recognition. Then I talked about mismatch, having two against one. Okay, and unopposed pawn. Okay, so those three things should be sufficient for you. Okay, to understand this position. Okay. Any thoughts? Any thoughts, people? Give me some feedback. What do you think? D and K. All right. All right. Let's move on. Let's see what else can I find here that's a treasure. Because these are patterns which are very simple and you should be able to understand them. Okay. Now here's a situation of Zumzwang. I think another word for this is trebuchet. It's an ancient weapon. I don't know why it's called this. Okay, but let's take a look at it. So now look at this position. Okay, white is going up, black is going down. Okay, and the only thing you have to remember is that you have to attack. White has to attack the pawn on d6. Okay, there are two ways to do it: the wrong way and the right way. How to attack the pawn on d6. The wrong way is to attack it sideways. That's the wrong way. The correct way is to attack it from behind. That's the correct way. Okay? Now let's see why. So that's the rule, and that's what you need to remember. Okay? So let's take a look. If we play the right way, and this is the right way, you're attacking the pawn from behind. See that? And now he has to play here to protect it. And then you create a knight opposition. Okay? By doing that, you protect your pawn and you create a zugzwang. Zugzwang. It's black to move, and whatever move black makes, it's detrimental to it. Okay? So now let's say if he plays here, I take here. I will take here the pawn, and now I will move over, and now I will escort the pawn through, and there's nothing to stop it. And that's it. And we make a queen or a rook, and it's a no-brainer. Okay? Is there anything else I want to say about this position? Okay. Well, okay, let's say if he did the attack is sideways and is attacking the pawn, right? Then I can protect it, right? And now look what happens. Now white is going to lose the pawn. You believe it? Now white is going to lose the pawn. So when he goes here, Okay, he's going to lose the pawn. And not only that, okay, he's two squares in front of the pawn. So actually, right now, black is on a key square, and that's winning. So if black is on a key square of the pawn on d6, e5 is a key square because you have to because the pawn creates key squares by the rule. You know, two squares in front of the pawn are the key squares. So these are the key squares. Okay, so let me change the color. Um, yeah, let me see. So this is the color of the pawn. Okay, oh, here's the pawn, and the pawn creates these key squares. Okay, key squares are always if the pawn is behind the equator, and the pawn on d6 is behind the equator. The key squares are two ranks in front of the pawn. That's what this is, right? And by the king being on the key square, it's always a win. Okay, that's a rule. I need to look at it more. I just know it's a rule, and I know it wins. There's no defense. Okay. Um, all right. So, okay. So in this position, okay, in this position, if white plays wrong, then black is going to eat the pawn. Okay. But if white plays correctly by attacking from behind, then white is going to win. Right. And there you go. And now the pawn is open to be pushed and promoted. Yeah. All right. So now, okay. What do you think of that one? What do you think of that one, baby? Was it simple or not? All right. So let's see what we have next on the menu. And let's look. Oh, this is cute. This is cute. All right. So now here in this position, we have split pawns. Split pawns. Okay, split pawns. Now we know that connected passed pawns protect each other, right? Because so basically when the pawns are connected and both pawns are passed, if uh, if if um, if the king attacks one of the pawns, the other pawn will advance, and the base of the chain cannot be taken because the other pawn will run, and the king is not able to catch it. Okay, so we know connected passed pawns are strong. But what about split pawns? Are they self-sufficient? Can they protect each other? And the answer is yes. And let's take a look why. Are you ready? Jelly belly. Let's take a look. Okay, so now, if he attacks the pawn and he wants to eat the pawn, he wants to eat the pawn, right? Okay, what we do is we advance this pawn. And if he eats the pawn, okay, uh, notice right now, if I draw the square, the rule of the square, right? The black king is outside the square because the square is here. Right? Here's the square. Okay, maybe I should make it blue. Okay, here's the square, and the king is outside the square. Outside the square, right? And it's white to play. All right. So this is losing. Okay. The pawn is going to run, and the black king will never catch it. All right. So let's go back. So what we have learned here, when the pawn is attacked on c3, pawn goes to a4, and now if the king eats the c3 pawn, the black will be outside the square, and it's going to be lost. So what has to happen here is he cannot take the pawn. He has to draw back, right? Okay, and then we can move king up, and now he's ready to attack the a pawn, right? See? And then we create a line, okay, on the horizontal, just before the king is able to attack the a pawn. Okay, and now when it attacks the a pawn, we can advance. And now, notice, now if he eats the pawn, he'll never catch the c pawn. All right, and he has to go draw back, move our king, and now it's ready to attack the c pawn. And now we push the a pawn, and now they're on the same line again. And now, if the king attacks the c pawn, we push the a pawn. So the two pawns which are split protect each other. All right, and now if he eats the c pawn, right? Okay, the square right now is here, right? Okay, so let me draw the square. So right now the square is, this is the square, right? So the king is now is inside the square, right? So I can draw a diagonal and now complete the square, the four corners, right? Now if the king eats the pawn on c5, the king is outside the square, loses. So now he has to what? He has to come back, and king moves up, and now here, and now he's ready to attack the a pawn. And you know what the next move is? We have to straighten the pawns out. And now they protect each other again because they are aligned horizontally. And now when the king comes up with that a pawn, the c pawn goes down. And that's it. Okay? So the two split pawns are very self-sufficient and they can protect each other, like two passed pawns, okay, which are connected. But these are not connected. So there you go. That's how simple this is. Okay, very simple idea. Okay, and now put it in memory and practice. You can set it up and practice, or you can review this video and remember it better if you have to. All right. So let's move on to the next puzzle, and this is very nice. And what is this about? Let me tell you what this is about. So in this position, white is going to sacrifice a pawn to increase the distance from the black king. Okay, so that's what's going to happen here. We're going to do a pawn sack to increase the distance from the black king. So the pawn, there'll be a pass pawn. The distance between the pass pawn and the king will be too huge for the king to catch it. So that means the king will be outside the square. All right, so here's the position. And now, if I play this move, and he takes, and I take back, okay? And now I'm going to draw a square for the c pawn. And the square is here, right? And here. That's the promotion square. I'll come here, and I'll make the full corner. And here's the square, right? And with black to move, he can enter the square, and we'll catch the pawn. We'll catch the pawn, and these two connected pass pawn win for black. Okay? You see that? Because the king can go inside the square. Okay? In case, after this, in case black take, if in case white took on c, no, that's not what I want. In case white took on c5, the king will move inside the square, right? And let's look at the square again. He's inside the square, and here's the square. And this is a win for black because of these two poles which are passed and connected. All right. So you know what? You know what has to happen? So after I do this and he takes, I play this. Okay. Now look at the square of this pawn. Okay. Let's draw it here, and then here, and then here, and then here. So these are the corners of the b5 pawn. And notice the king is outside the square. There's no way the king can step in. It is black to play, but the king will go, even if it moves here, it's outside. If it moves here, it's outside. So there's no way for the king to catch the pawn. He's outside the square. And after this, he's still outside the square. Okay? Corner 1, corner 2, promotion corner, and we have to move here to this corner, and now we have a square. And notice the black king can never move inside the square. And it is lost. Okay? Even in view that he has 3 pass pawns. Okay? Remember, so the king is going to hold these two, and his pawn is not, and also when he promotes, he's going to promote to the check. Okay, everything's bad. And now we can just continue playing, and here's the check. Wow, it's all over. Okay? So when the king moves, I can play maybe check here, and maybe just pick up the pawn. And then I don't know what, maybe the queen and the king is going to try to pick up these and be mate eventually. And it's so simple. Okay. Any thoughts, people? Any thoughts on this? How easy is this? Is this hard? Is it easy? It's half and half? Talk to me. What do you think? All right. So what is this position about? This position is about perpetual check and attack on the diagonal. And that's what you need to know here. Okay. And let's take a look at this. Okay. So black is stronger here. He has the extra queen. But nevertheless, white is able to draw. And he's able to draw because, yeah, very good. Ghosty boat. Ghosty boat. Okay, very good. So this position is about perpetual check. And that's an everlasting check. It's a draw, right? And uh, and the method of getting a draw is to play on a diagonal. Okay, and let's take a look how this might work. Okay, and here's the position. So now we give a check to the king, and now this is the diagonal I'm going to talk about. Okay, okay, these squares make up this diagonal, and the queen is going to travel on this diagonal to create perpetual check. Okay, so let me do this. So now, when he blocks, I can play check, moving a diagonal. He blocks, diagonal again. He blocks, diagonal again, and it continues. Okay? So by using the diagonal, okay, by moving on a diagonal, we can create a perpetual check, queen versus two queens, if the black king is in the corner. So check, diagonal check, diagonal check, diagonal check. Okay, so and this pattern can be broken, and therefore it's going to be perpetual check and a draw. Okay, and that's the way this works. Okay, easy peasy lemon squeezy. All right, let me move on. Let me move on. Okay, now what's the point of this position? Oh yeah, now I know what this position is about. Okay, so let's take a look at this position. Let's take a look at this position. Okay, so there's a name for this position which I use, which I like. And what I call this position is this. I call this position I win position. Now, why do I call it the I win position? I call it the I win position because if it's white to move, white wins. If it's black to move, white wins. The reason it's called I win position doesn't matter whose move it is, white always wins. Therefore, I win position. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? Okay, very good. And now let's take a look how this might work. Are you ready? All right. And well, let's identify the I-wing position. Let's identify it. The king is on the sixth rank. Okay, sixth rank. Okay, the sixth rank. Okay, it is in direct opposition of the black king. They're on the same line, one square separation. Right, direct opposition. And white pawn is behind the king on the fifth rank. Fifth rank. Okay, so these are the preconditions. Okay, king on the sixth, opposition with the black king. Okay, direct opposition, and the white pawn is behind the king. So these are the preconditions for the I win position. All right. Now let's say if it's white to move. This is called knight opposition. Two kings are separated by a distance of a knight, or the knight pattern. You see that? Okay. When you do this, the white king, is in a position to escort the pawn to safety. You see that? And that's what happens. Okay, checky wecky, and then we just promote. And that's the win. All right. Now, so this is the way this works. Okay? Any questions, anybody? No questions? Okay? You have 20 seconds to make a comment, question, statement, whatever, and we shall move on. Yeah, baby. Yep. Okay. All right. Let's go back. And guess what? We're going to have the same position, but there's a little difference here. You know what the difference is? Okay. In the example we looked before, it was black to move, right? But in this example, it's white to move. Okay. And it's called a win position. I win position. So it doesn't matter whose move it is, white always wins. So if it's white to move here, it just moves aside, and now the pawn is free to advance. Yeah. And then when you place this, black has opposition over the white king. But by having the extra move, the extra tempo, you can play it. And now black is going to blink and lose opposition. And to get opposition needs to step back on the same line with the white king, one square separating them. You see that? But when the pawn advances, the king cannot do that. All right? So the king has to go to this square, and the white king grabs the promotion square. You see? And the pawn will be escorted to a queen, and it's won. Okay? So this is how this works. So I'm in position. Doesn't matter whose move it is, white always wins. King on the sixth, pawn on the fifth, and the two kings are facing each other on the same line, vertical, one square separation. Okay? These are the preconditions for the I win position. You should memorize it, know it, and this will be one of your target positions in order to win at chess, in order to win at this type of endgame. And the key feature is um, white has the extra pawn, and white's king is always in front of the pawn. Okay? If the white king is If the white king is behind the pawn, he probably cannot win. He has to be in front of the pawn. Okay? All right then. Let me move to the next one. Okay, so we just finished page one. I have a little bit on page two, and then we'll finish. We'll finish this today's presentation, and then we can chill out and do other things. Coach part two. Good to see you. Welcome to my chat. It's good to see you in the chat. Okay. If this is your first time, welcome. Push the follow button so you'll be notified when I stream. And I have stuff also on YouTube, okay, under Punk Monk Z. And if you wish, you can subscribe. There's what? There's what? In the chat window, there's a little diamond, a little rabbit hole. You can push the little diamond and see where it leads. And also, I have a group on chess.com. It's called Punk Monk Z. You can join the group and have some interesting stuff there. Anyway, so let's move on. Let's move on. Let me see. What do we do? Let me get ready and let's look at this. Yeah. So this is the position. I think this was a kind of unofficial game I have read between Capablanca and Emmanuel Lasker. And this is the position. And the question is how to play this. How to play this. Okay, so before we do anything, let's just collect some information about the position, and then we'll have more information to decide what to do. So right now, it is white to play. The king is attacking the rook. Okay, it's white to play, and if the rook is moved somewhere, the knight is going to take the pawn, and yeah, it looks like a draw to me. For that, okay, because at worst, the rook can sacrifice itself with the pawn, the black pawn at some point. If the white pawn is removed, okay, and it'll be a draw. So what to do here? Now, if the king, okay, so the black is attacking it, but it's white move. If the white king takes the knight, it's a stalemate, right? So so if the king takes the knight, stalemate. So that means the rook has to move. That's it. Well, but okay, the king can hold this stupid thing, but then the pawn drops. That's ridiculous. All right. So what to do here? What to do here? Okay. So the rook has to move, right? So okay, now okay. So now, can I give you some rules here? I don't know if I can give you some rules. Okay. Now I think there are two ways to think about chess. One is forward thinking. The other one is called backward thinking, according to Emmanuel Lasker in Manual of Chess that he wrote. Forward thinking is calculation. Basically, it's force moves, power moves. And backward thinking is basically having a strategical image in your mind, and you try to move from square one to that image. So the most important position in strategical thinking is, or positional thinking is the position of the end. Position of the end. And you try to move the position at the beginning to the position at the end. So you work backwards. In forward thinking, the most important position is the starting position, and you're trying to use force moves and to see where it leads. So since I don't have any preconceived ideas of what I want here, I have to use the forward thinking method of force moves. Now, where are the force moves here? The force moves are the checks. Okay, that's on the top of the list. And the second level of force moves are called captures. And the third level are called threats. And threats could be something like what? Like checking two moves or capturing two moves. Checks are, it's a check on the move, it's attacking the king, and a capture is taking something on the move or yeah, taking something on the move right away. Okay, so checks, captures, and threats. Okay, so here I do have a check, and I can play a check here. I can play a check there, right? That's it. All right, those are my two checks. Now, since I don't know the answer, which check I should use, then I'm going to look at elimination method. I'm going to look at positions, for example, that don't make sense. Okay. For example, this check here makes no sense to me because you can just take, and this is ridiculous. I mean, black is going to win, right? So check on b7 is out of the question. So the only check I have really is to play this check. Now, when I place this check on a8, black has two responses, right? Yes, well, actually, he has three responses, right? He has three responses. He can decline the rook, okay, but that makes no sense because then we can play check here, forcing to take, and then we'll take knight here, right? And eventually we'll be able to pick up the b6 pawn, and that should lead to a win. All right. So okay, let's just try for fun. Okay, let's say I play here, right? And you can play check, and then he has to take, and I take, and then when he plays this, I take, and when he plays this, I can clear the way, and eventually I'm going to promote, yeah, and that's going to win, yeah. And so let's go take a back here. So when I play this check, the real choices are really king takes or knight takes. Okay, so let's look at each one of them. Okay, now, so the way to figure this problem out is actually using forward thinking, which is what? Which is power moves, forcing method. Okay, and see where it leads us. So when he plays check, he takes with a knight, right? I can play this quiet move and put him in a Zugzwang. Okay, the king cannot move, the pawn cannot move, the knight has to move. I take the knight, and now the king has to move, and I take the pawn. And when he moves, let's say over here, I can move over, and now I'll be able to play for the win. Yeah, and yeah, let's just take a look at it, just in case. Okay, do I have any moves here? So let's say I play here, right? Oh, who's moving? He plays here, and I play this move. He plays this, I play this move. He plays this. Now, when he's here, when I push the pawn on 7, there's no check. I'm winning. Okay, and then he has to move what here, and then I grab that queen square, and I'm able to promote and win. Yeah. Okay, so that's the way this works. So where are we now? So we play check, right? We play check, and we saw what happens if knight takes, right? Knight takes, we make a kind of quiet move, create a zumzwang, and then be able to win, and that's that. Now, what will happen? What will happen? Let's say um, if he takes to the king, let's say, right? Then we have to take the knight, and now he's going to hold the pawn. And now we have knight opposition, and he has to let go of the pawn and win the pawn. We get the same position as before. Okay, and that's the win. All right. So this is the way this works. So in this position, how to solve this? Well, I don't have any rules here or any hints in terms of pattern. The only thing I can say is, the way I do this position is to use calculation, and that's the method I will use. It's forward thinking, and it's based on power moves and checks, captures, or threats. Yeah. All right. So that's the way this works, and yeah. So I'm doing great. Coach bar 2. Okay, so today I don't have music. Today I don't have music, but I can listen to it on my end, but you can't hear it. And yeah, so that's the way we're doing things today. And yeah, So let's see what else do we have here to finish this off, and uh, and let's look at this position. Let's look at this position, and yeah, this is the position, and look at this position, people, and tell me something you understand about this position, and share with me your thoughts, and tell me what you think here. What do you think here? Okay, about this position. Yeah, I missed the music too. Ghosty. What happened is that upload. I usually upload the video to YouTube. Okay, but when I uploaded the videos to YouTube, I have about 8 videos on YouTube, and I think half of them have been flagged. Okay, under copyright material stuff. Okay, because I have music as a background and the music belonged to somebody else, and I could not monetize those videos because I guess somebody else's intellectual property I used or something like that. So when I upload this material to YouTube, I'm not sure what music to use, so it won't be under copyright laws or whatever. And so I decided to do this one without the music, unfortunately. But I can listen to the music on my end, but you can't hear it. Okay, but if you can recommend some music that won't be flagged by YouTube, then yeah, I'll put it on because I like it. I like to share good times, and so if I have stuff which is funny or instructional, and there's music in the background, I think it somewhat enhances it. But under the conditions right now, I'm not sure what to do, so I left the music out. Okay, so that's the story in the music. All right, so here's the position. Yeah, it says keep the king in front of the pawn. That's correct. Okay, so let's take a look at this idea. Okay, now if the pawn advanced, for example, it's a draw. Okay, let me tell you why it's a draw. Okay, if the pawn is on a fourth rank, it is behind the equator. That means that what does that mean? That means the key squares would are these, this one, and this one. If the white king is able to land on these three key squares, which are in blue, white will win. Okay. But the point is this. The point is, if I advance, okay, black keeps me off the key squares. And I can never get to the key squares. Okay, therefore I cannot win, right? Okay, but if I play a move like this move, okay, this is called opposition. And what is opposition? Opposition means having a stronger king. And by having a stronger king and you're attacking, the defending king has to give way. And that's called opposition. All right? If it's attacking king. All right? And and now when the king, for example, moves somewhere, I can go to knight opposition, move forward, and now I'm able to escort my pawn. And when he blocks the pawn this way, I can now move into I win position. And all I have to do is move the pawn to the fifth, and we have the I win position, right? Oh well, I could have moved to the fifth, but this is even faster, okay? Because now I can escort the pawn all the way through, okay? See that? And just to illustrate that I was right about something here, let me see. Okay, so in this position, this is what I prepared. But okay, but I can even play this. Okay, I have the I win position. Doesn't matter. Okay, and because this is the basic precondition. King on the sixth, pawn on the fifth, and the opposing king is in direct opposition with my king. Okay, that's the precondition for the I win position. Now, whose move is it here? I don't know. Is it my move? Yes. Let's say I move here, he goes here, I push the pawn, he moves over, and now he lost the position. He has to get back to get a position. I push the pawn, and he can't get back. And now when he moves out, I can get control of the queen square. And that's it. Okay? All right, so let's go back. All right. So, and by the way, let me say this one. Let me say this one. Okay, so the key squares for the pawn in e4 are these three. Right? Right? So by playing this move here, I'll be able to land on one of these three. Okay? So here we go. And guess what? I landed on one of the three. This is the 3, and I landed on that one. And that's enough for a win. Okay? And that's that. Pretty easy, no? Yeah, pretty easy. All right, so let's see. We're coming to an end almost, and only have a few here. Oh, this is so lovely. This is so lovely. I had to put this one because it's so simple, and it's easy, I think. Okay? Now, okay, who can tell me who's winning here? Okay? I mean, is gonna, black is gonna make a queen in 2 moves. Right? In 2 moves. Okay? In 2 moves. The A pawn promotes. Okay, and that's it. Game over. Black wins. Okay? So is there any hope for white not to lose the game? And there is. It's called building a fortress. Okay? So fortress is kind of creating a self uh, what's it called? Stalemate. It's creating a stalemate situation. So yeah, I play here, he pushes the pawn, I get in here, and after this, I play this. Okay? And now the white king is frozen, cannot move. It is white to play. And whatever black does here, it will be white's move. And it's not a check. And white has no moves. Stalemate. Okay? It's called a fortress. Okay, how to escape how, 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 how to escape losing, how to escape losses, build a fortress. Okay, so that's how this works. Okay, so king here, and then put yourself in a position where you're not able to move, where you don't have moves. He queens, and now you have, and white has no moves. Cannot move, cannot move, cannot move, cannot move, cannot move. Okay, the pawn shuts the square down. Okay, and it's stalemate. Okay, building a fortress. All right. So that was kind of fun, no? All right. Okay. Let me see what is next here. And oh yeah, this is pretty. This is pretty. It's pretty. So let me put it here and take a look at this position a little bit and get familiar. And then if you have any thoughts, put them in chat. Hey Gary, good to see you, buddy. Today, Today we're doing Endgames, and so we're covering Endgames, and I'm trying to show you Endgames and trying to prove to you that they are easy, and uh, and you have to watch the whole video to find out why do I consider it easy. So you're gonna learn about ideas, concepts, different methods, tools that you can use, okay, to figure the problems out. Okay, so I recommend you go over the material and review the video because you came a little bit late, and it's all there recorded. Okay, and anyways, I'm gonna put this YouTube. Sorry, I'm gonna put this video on YouTube eventually under Punk Monk Z. You can take a look there. If you don't find it in Twitch, eventually it's gonna be deleted in Twitch. So if you don't find it in Twitch, you can find it on YouTube. Yes. And yeah, endgames are very important, and you should know them. Okay. Okay, Ghosty. Good to see you. Come back again. Okay, later, alligator. All right. So here we go. Let's take a look at the next one. Okay. So here's the position. White has a pawn. White has an a pawn that's a pass pawn and wants to promote. Okay. Black is going to probably try to block the pawn. Black is going to try to block the pawn, so the white pawn cannot move. The a pawn cannot move. And so basically, black defense is to block the a pawn, and uh, and for white to make progress, he has to break the blockade. So what we're going to see are two actions: black trying to blockade the pawn from moving by freezing the pawn, so that white cannot make progress. And what white is going to do is try to remove the queen, the black queen, from the blocking position so the pawn can advance and eventually queen. So let's see how this works. So white plays a4 and he blocks. And he plays here and challenges the queen to unblock. Now the queen cannot take here. He cannot take here because when the pawn gets here, the king will be outside the square. And therefore it cannot stop. He cannot stop the b pawn on b5. Okay, so exchanging queen on b5 is a no-go. So he's going to go here, and he's staying in front of the pawn again, and we're going to push. And now, when the king gets out of the way, we're going to push. And now he's trying to create some chances on the king side. But look at this, breaking the blockade. And now the a pawn gets through. Next move is going to be a queen. And there's nothing that black can do here. Okay, so that's the situation. So the two queens were doing a dance, blockade and breaking blockade and breaking blockade. Okay, and that's what happens when you have a pass pawn and there's a queen on both sides. Okay, and the pawn that's passed will be assisted by her own queen to break the blockade. And it's pretty simple, no? All right. Okay, good show. All right, let's see what is next, people. Let's see what is next, and we'll do maybe a few more, and we'll finish with this. Okay, so we have probably what, two? Okay, we have two more people, and we're done. Okay, it's so simple. So stay with me. We're gonna do two more, and we'll call it a day. All right, buddy? Okay. So let's take a look at this one. Let me make it bigger for you guys. And take a look at this one. Take a look at this one. And yeah, tell me what you think about this position. Okay? This is a composition. I think this is the only composition that exists that Paul Morphy did. Okay? So this is a composition by Paul Morphy. And who knows the answer? Who knows the answer to this composition? Okay? But this is under Endgame. It's not so much. It's just a little problem in Endgame. I think it's fun, and yeah, let's look at these little funsies. Okay, and yes, just as a cool down, we'll look at a couple of interesting puzzles. All right. So this is the first one by Paul Murphy. Any thoughts? Anyone? All right, Jonathan's here. Jonathan, baby. Okay, you didn't say hi in the chat, baby. Where's the hi in the chat, Jonathan? No hi? Try to kind of stay low profile, okay? Behind the scenes, man. Like a sniper. Jonathan. Anyway, so this is the position, and let's look at it. So, yeah, well, the king is frozen. It can't move. Okay, so it's not a king move. All right? King's frozen. The bishop is frozen. It can't move because if the bishop does move somewhere on the diagonal, the rook is going to take and it'll be checkmate. Yeah? Yeah? Let me do this and this. If the bishop moves, it'll be checkmate. So now we know the king is frozen and the bishop is frozen. We know the pawn is frozen because there's an obstacle in the way, right? Okay, so the only thing that can move here is the pawn. But guess what? It is white to play. So by playing this move, everything, so the pawn now can't move. The pawn can't move, the king can't move, the bishop can't move. The only thing that can move here is the b pawn. So he takes the rook. But then this is checkmate. Wow. Paul Murphy, baby. This is a composition by Paul Murphy. Okay, what did you think of it? I thought it was kind of pleasing. What do you think? Okay, very pleasing. All right. Did you like it? Yes, no, maybe, perhaps, could be. All right. And let us move on. All right, Gary. All right. Oh, okay. Okay, Jonathan's driving. Okay, sorry, Jonathan. Okay, so Jonathan, I'll be ending this pretty soon. I have one more puzzle to show, but you're welcome to review the video, and yeah, and I think there's a lot of instructional material end games here, and where I try to make the end games very simple and easy to understand, and I use different tools to enable you to understand it, and you should go over it and see if it works for you. And you can tell me at the club whether it did or not. All right, here we go. Last one. Last one. Here we go. Last one. And let me move it. And here is the last one. So let me make it bigger. Let me make it bigger. Don't look. And here's the position. All right. So this is the last one. So I'm going to take it slow. I'm going to take it slow so you guys can look at it and uh, and develop some thoughts about this position. Okay. Okay. So look at this position and share with me your thoughts. What do you think about this position, and what is running to your head, and how would you go about trying to figure it out? That's my question. RJ, hello. Say hi in the chat, RJ. BNK, why not? Zane Kieber, Zane Kieber. Say hello in the chat. Anyway, so if you're new to this show, you can follow me by pressing a heart button somewhere. Okay. And if you want to support the show, you can always subscribe. That'll be nice. And if you have any ideas what kind of content you would like me to cover, leave me a note. Okay. And I will try to do that for you. Anyway, so here it is. Here's the last one. Here's the last one. So take a look at it. Take a look at it and try to see what you can do with white here. So Gary, what can you do with white here? Okay, what can you do with white here? Let's collect some information. Okay, the king is frozen. The king is frozen. It cannot move. The pawn is frozen. Cannot move. Okay, the king cannot move here either. So the pawn on a7, the king on a8, and b8 is shut down. And the pawn, do you believe it? The pawn cannot move also. So if it's black to move here, it is a draw. It's a stalemate. Okay, but white happens to have a knight and a bishop and a king. So we have a potential mismatch here. Three pieces, king, bishop, and knight versus the king. 3-to-1 ratio. Okay? But there's a problem. Black has no moves. So what we need to do now is to enable black to move. And the way we do it is to sacrifice our piece on c6. So when he takes, we put the king into a cage. And now the king is frozen. The pawn cannot move. The king cannot move. This square is shut down, and so is that one. The only thing that can move is the c pawn, black c pawn. And when the pawn does move, this is checkmate. Okay? And why is it checkmate? Because all the squares around the black king are shut down. So the a8 square is shut down. The knight attacks it, right? Okay, a7 is shut down by occupation. b7 is shut down by the king, and b8 is shut down by the king. So all the squares around the king are shut down. It is a checkmate. The black king is a mating net or a mating box. Okay, and this is all because of this position. Okay, so if you can memorize these positions, you can take it to your club and set it up to your friends that play chess, and you can entertain them with these puzzles. They're kind of pretty, I think, and kind of unusual. Okay, and yeah. So what you're creating is mismatch. So we start with 3-to-2, and eventually what's going to happen is we're going to create a mismatch of 2 against 1. Okay, 2 against 1. So white has a king and a knight. Those are two pieces. And the king is a defending piece. That's 1. So it's 2 against 1, mismatch. The bigger group wins, mismatch. And the king has no mobility. It's being dominated by the two pieces, the king and the knight. Yeah. All right. So let me go back here. And yeah, let me do something else before I say anything here. And yeah, what am I doing? Yeah, let's do this. All right. Yeah. So yeah. So that's it. That's it. So that's our first part of Endgames. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. Okay. And I especially recommend you go over the video and go slowly and yeah, take mental notes and pick up on the hints I give you and the rules and the ideas and the methods of thinking. Okay. I gave you a few of them here and then adapt and use them and it works. Anyway, thank you, dear listener, for being here. And don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you guys later. Thank you very much. And let me put the end stream ending. And here it is. Isn't that cute? And yeah. And we are at the end of our telecast. And I am the Punk Monk Z. And I will do some more end games in the future. And this is my first part. And there will probably at least a second part. And that's that. And don't forget to take a look at YouTube under Punk Monk Z. There'll be some other additional videos there if you missed them on Twitch. And I'll see you guys later. Thank you for joining me and have a great time, great day, great morning, evening, and Punk Monk Z out. Bye bye.